Welcome to my presentation for Back to School Night. This is our Exploring Functions Through Mathematical Practices class. It's a fairly new class. It's a revamp of an old class that we didn't really offer, but looking at some of the needs of students throughout the district, this class kind of fits somewhat between Math 2 and Math 3 and gives students more a hands-on approach at looking at a lot of mathematical topics. I am Mr. Hartman, not Ms. Robinson. My teaching experience, this is year 24 for me. I've taught just about every course we offer, so I know where students are coming from, what they should know, and maybe what some of their holes are typically going to be, as well as coming out of this course, where they might be headed, what they're going to need to know for that. It's just some of our COVID precautions, especially as the variants are kind of ramping up here. We do have hand sanitizing options in class. I'm going to typically keep students in the same seat for the entire quarter or term. Make sure that masks are required, covering nose and mouth. And if they come to class without a mask, that we are able to provide masks for them. Really important if they're not feeling well, for them not to come to school. It should be fairly easy for them to stay up to date from home, although we do a lot of hands-on stuff in class. But usually I provide videos for students that might not be in class to keep them current. What does a typical day look like in class? Taking attendance while they're working on some sort of a warm-up, review or preview of material that we're going to cover, things that are really important as quizzes and tests come up, lesson presentation, maybe small note-taking, so make sure they're organized and participate in that note-taking. So that's something that you could kind of be looking at home is, hey, can I see your notes from the day or whatever? And most days we're going to take a small amount of notes. But we also do a lot of hands-on activities of different kinds. Probably the most prevalent is Desmos, so we do these teacher-driven Desmos lessons where they get to play around with the mathematics and also kind of get some feedback a lot of times on that, kind of let them know if they're learning what they're supposed to be learning. And then kind of at a conclusion, it might be an assignment. Sometimes they might be able to finish those in class even before they leave. This class is designed for them to do a lot of the work in class, not as much out of class, so they might just have just a little bit from a day-to-day basis that they have to be doing at home, but it shouldn't be too much. So some of the information in the syllabus, how the grade is broken down. Assignments are 25%. That's a little bit more than a typical math class because of the volume of in-class activities that we do. Tests are going to be 40%, quizzes 20%, final exam 15%, making up the entire grade. Some of the tools that we use scientific calculators a lot. So really beneficial if they have their own. You can find them at Walmart for around $10. The Texas Instrument TIXIIS, that information's in the syllabus. It's a really good calculator. It's the ones that we use in class, and as a take-home, it's a good one to use. It's not something that necessarily they have to have. They are allowed to borrow as long as they have a picture ID, like their school ID, to trade and borrow a calculator in class. Also, as an at-home option, Desmos. You go to desmos.com/scientific. There's a scientific calculator built in online that they can access through their Chromebook. But there's also graphing. They offer a graphing calculator that's really good, and we actually use the Desmos platform for a lot of educational materials. We will from time to time use IXL, which is in their portal, and it's just a way of kind of assessing some of the skills that they should have. Keys for success: completing all the assignments. So if you look at their parent view and you go really into the details, when students do not finish an assignment, I will typically mark it as incomplete. They still get all the points that they have earned, so it doesn't deduct anything, but it's just saying they didn't try every single problem that's offered. And that's a really big one for me. Try every problem that is given. It's okay to miss some and analyze and learn from your mistakes. In fact, in the syllabus, it shows there is a redo policy for assignments if they want to improve their grade. Could improve it up to an 8 out of 10. So if they already have higher than that, redoing is not going to help their grade, but always analyzing and learning from your mistakes is a good idea. Be organized. Ask for help when you need it. Have an I can attitude because they can. The students that are in this class have enough background, foundational material, and things that they know to be successful in this class. Ask questions. Don't just watch. Do the math. Try your best. Communicate. Okay, and that might be just talking with classmates about what they're doing. It's a good way to gain extra confidence and have a growth mindset. How can the student get help if they come before school? Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday in my room, sometimes after school, but not usually. I'm available in my room. We do have a dedicated homework help center for Monday through Thursday after school. They can go get help on their homework there. I put out a series of YouTube videos so they can go re-watch a lesson that they maybe struggle with a little bit, and I can even provide extra YouTube resources for them if they say, I really want another way of looking at that lesson. They can come get that from me. And then khanacademy.org is really a good site to get extra resources for really a lot of different courses. What about tests? We expect academic integrity. The student can use a calculator. If they don't have one, they can borrow a calculator. Again, ask that they have student ID or any kind of picture ID to exchange if they don't have their own calculator to use. Students that have their own calculator do better because they're more comfortable with them. Cannot use notes, cannot retake tests if they're not happy with how they did. The test dates are published well in advance so they know when they're going to be. We do a lot of preparation for them so when we get to the test, they've had sufficient time to prepare. They should be ready. You have access to this slideshow in your student's Google Classroom account. These are our admin, A through F, G through L, M through R, S through Z, and our attendance support. Tardy policy is pretty standard. Counselors go where to go for assistance, depending on alphabet. Okay, and way to contact me. A little bit more background about the course. Okay? This is an A through G course, which means it does count for college entrance requirements. It counts not only for EGUSD graduation requirements, but if they're trying to get into a four-year school right after high school, it does count towards those requirements. So that's a major benefit of this course. As I said, it's new for us, but our students in the fall were extremely successful by the end of the course. It's a little bit of a growing process early on, but as they start to gain footage, they do really, really well by the end of the course and really have a really good understanding of really all the topics that we're going to do, and that includes some of the preview topics that lead into Math 3. So if they do really well, Math 3 should be an option after this course. Thank you for viewing. Hopefully I've answered your questions. If not, feel free to contact me, and I can answer any questions that you have. Have a good evening.